Hi, I'm Callum from Tyne Valley Motorhomes, and this is a handover of a Tribute T625. As we start the walk around on the driver's side of the vehicle first, the first main point you get to, just underneath the skirt of the van, is your wastewater drain off point. So anything that you've drained off via a plug hole goes into a separate waste holding tank, and normally on the way out of your site you'd go over the waste disposal point, open the lever on the side and allow your wastewater out, as you wouldn't want to travel with this because it'll add weight to the vehicle, which will impact your payload and your consumption of diesel, and you'll want to make sure that this is fully drained off in the winter when you winterize the vehicle. Using the Habitation Key, which is this round headed key here, you can lock and unlock your lockers. So push these both in, releases the door. This is your cassette toilet. So then what you've got to do is lift the blue lever, slide the cassette free of the vehicle. You've got a handle so you can drag it to your waste disposal point, which is normally beside your toilet block, and then to empty it, remove the blue cap, press the blue button, tip it out. Once you've tipped the content of the cassette out, put some water in it, give it a quick rinse, tip out again. Then you can either put 120 ml of liquid in the cap, or you can pour it directly down the neck of the cassette, either the blue or the green, depending on what the site prefers you to use. If you are going to use the tablets, you put a pint of water into the cassette and then you'd simply drop a tablet down the toilet using the blade, which I'll go into more depth once inside the vehicle what the blade does. It'll allow it into the cassette. Coming further along, you've got your LPG, so liquid petroleum gas. This is your gas locker, and in here you can fit 2 6-kilogram bottles. So what you would do is put your bottle in, strap it in. So you want to strap your bottles in so that they're safe and secure when on the vehicle. So strap it in. To connect the pigtail, which is the pipe between the regulator and the bottle, it's a left hand thread, so it's opposite threads with it being gas. So left to tighten, right to loosen. And then you want to get an adjustable spanner or a wrench and just nip it up, that final nip, so that it's nipped up. And then you can turn the bottle on and off from the top of the cylinder, making sure that it's turned off before you do start traveling. And then you've got space for another bottle in here, so you can carry 2 6-kilogram bottles in here, and you just swap the pigtail to the bottle that's full once one goes empty. Mains hookup point. So to hook the vehicle up, if you were at home and you wanted to charge the vehicle before you went on your holidays, or if you were on a site, you'd use hookup. So you'd get your hooker blade, lift the collar, expose the end, slide it on here first, hook the vehicle first, then the site, and do it in reverse order when unhooking the vehicle, which is pushing the blue clip in to unhook the wire. To unhook the vehicle, underneath you've got your fresh water drain off point. So this is very similar to your waste, but this is fresh water, clean water. So again, if you've taken on contaminated water, if you're not using the vehicle for a couple of weeks and you don't want the water to go stagnant, or you're winterizing it where you drain everything out because you wouldn't want the water to freeze because it does invalidate your warranty, you want to just open the valve and allow the water out of the vehicle. But you always make sure when we're experiencing cold weather, the vehicle's drained down, because you wouldn't want the water to freeze. Underneath the back lounge, you've got your location of your main leisure battery, which is here, which is the leisure battery that it would have come from the factory with. Your banger battery there, which is a 100 amp hour battery, because they normally just come with one, but the last owner has fitted another battery, which is in here. So you've got one main fuse for this battery, and then you'll have another fuse for that battery. So you've got 2 leisure batteries. 1 fully charged battery should last you 3 days if you use it correctly. So 2, you'll probably get 5 days off while camping. In the back corner you've got your boiler. So your boiler heats the water as well as heating the vehicle. But you want to make sure that the water is drained out the boiler in the winter, and to do so you just lift this valve up, and as you'll see the water will come out underneath. You would leave that stood up in the open position when draining the vehicle down to stop the water from freezing in there. Open the fresh and the waste from outside, then you would open all the taps in the middle position of the mixer inside. Remove your shower head from your shower hose and lie that hose in your shower tray just to stop any water from coiling up in that pipe. And then when you come to reuse the van, shut your boiler first, shut your fresh underneath here, shut your waste at the front, shut all your taps in the van, assemble your shower head back together. Then you want to fill the vehicle with water, which I'll show you because it's on the other side of the vehicle how to do so. Fill the van with water, put the control panel on, put the pump on and go at the cold side of the tap first. You'll get an automatic pressurised flow of cold water because it's drawn out from the tank underneath the van via the pump at the back to the taps. Go to the hot side, and as you start to move to the hot, you'll notice it's coughing and spluttering, and it's not giving you that pressurised flow of water like it does on the cold side. What that's doing is it's then starting to fill this boiler cylinder here of 10 litres. So it's transferring 10 litres from underneath the vehicle water tank via the pump into here before it then shoots it to the tap that you've got open. Once you have got a pressurised flow on the hot side, a free flow of water, this is your system primed for the season. But make sure you drain her off in the winter, as you wouldn't want the water to freeze in the boiler, as it can be a very costly mistake to make. When heating the water on gas, this cover needs to come off. If you're driving, put the cover on. If you're washing the van, put the cover on. If you're using electric to heat the water, you can leave the cover on. It's just gas to allow the fumes out. So you would just pinch the top here, pull the cover off, allow the fumes out when on gas. If you've left, pop the cover into here. If you've left the cover on and you're trying to light it on gas, just knock the switch off, come out, take the cover off, blow into here, eliminates the gas that's built up in there, and then go back in and switch the switch back on, and she should start working. Top of the van, you've got your high level brake light, reverse camera. Another reverse camera on the number plates around. Storage this side that goes to the back, so you've got a decent amount of storage for your deck chairs, your tables, your bits and pieces you want to carry. Using this little key here, this is your lockable flap for your fresh water filler. So this is how you fill the vehicle with fresh water. So you'd put a hose pipe in there, slot it between the 2 lugs, put the hose pipe in there until it overflows, or until you look on your control panel and you know you've got enough water on board. So carry a hose pipe with some hose pipe connections, as it's mainly just a brass tap on site. And like I say, hose pipe in there. Best way is just to wait until it overflows. It's going to do no harm. You've got a full tank of water when you arrive on your site. But if you're travelling to a site and you wanted to travel with some water, travel with a bare minimum of about 20 litres, because this will mean that you've got more of a payload and you're better on consumption of diesel. Awning, fridge vents, diesel filler by the passenger door, which opens with the main ignition key. Tyre pressures, so 5 bar on the front, which is 72.3 psi, and 5.5 bar on the back, which is 79.5 psi. Your engine battery's underneath this compartment in the cab floor, so if you ever need to change that or want to put a charger onto that directly to the battery, just lift this cover off. There's just some turn buckles on each side. Get a coin or a flat-headed screwdriver, turn them catches, and you'll be able to open that hatch. Underneath the passenger seat is the location of your toolkit, which is a jack and a brace and a tow eye. Fire extinguishers behind the passenger seat. Bonnet releases on the side of the dashboard. Underneath the bonnet you've got all your fluids to the left hand side, underneath the driver's side of the vehicle. So you've got the main one you're going to need is your screen wash. Then lifting and turning these 3 tabs, you've got your power steering fluid, your coolant, your brake fluid, your oil filler, oil dipstick, paint codes on this sticker here should you ever need it, earthing point for giving or receiving a jump start, and then between the air filter housing and the headlight, pop your key in here, lift this cover up, and that is your positive terminal for giving or receiving a jump start as the battery's underneath the cab floor. And then you've got your weight plate here. To operate your 12 volt control panel, so this is your master switch in the top left hand corner, which turns the vehicle on and off, either 12 volt if you're not hooked up off the leisure battery, and if you are hooked up you'll be able to work household appliances by plugging them into a 3-pin plug in the wall, which will give you 240 volt. So you can turn it on and off here. Battery L is the leisure battery, and you always want the blue light to be on battery L, as battery L is your leisure battery, which is designed to use the habitation side. But you press it and you can view the level of your leisure battery. Press the vehicle 1 and you can view the level of your vehicle battery. But you always want the blue light on the leisure battery, because if you put onto the vehicle battery, it's then using the van battery to operate the habitation side, and it could drain that battery and then you'd fail to start the engine. So make sure it's on there, because that's what that battery is designed to do. You've got your pump. So should you have enough water on board, you can turn your pump on and it'll give you a pressurized flow to your taps, toilet and shower. If you don't have any water on board, don't put your pump on, as you could burn the motor out and you will then need a new pump, which can be expensive. And then here you've got your fresh water level, so you've got half a tank of fresh water on board at the moment. To heat your water, you've got 2 settings on these 2 switches. So you've got Truma Boiler EL 230 volt. The left hand side is the electric side of heating your water. So if you went to a site and you've paid your site fees, then use their electric as much as possible. Don't waste your own gas, because you've paid to be on their site and use their facilities. So to heat your water, you've got off in the middle on the O, you've got 1 kilowatt at the top, which is 750 watts of mains 230 volt, and then at the bottom you've got 1500 watts, which is 2 kilowatts of mains 230 volt. So it's up to you whether you use 1 or 2 kilowatts. You'd normally use 1 kilowatt on a smaller CL site or abroad on an air. If you were on a site in the UK, depending on what else you're running, will determine whether you use 1 or 2 kilowatts, but you'd normally use 2 kilowatts on a site in this country, as long as you're not using a appliance at the same time that takes a big draw of 230 volt. You may have to knock it down to 1 kilowatt, but 2 kilowatts should be fine in this country. And then this side you've got your gas, so that's where the cover needs to come off, and it can't be any simpler than this. It's just choosing your temperature, so 50 degrees at the top or 70 degrees at the bottom, off in the middle. But you can't have the electric and gas on together should you be in desperate need of heating and hot water. To heat the vehicle on electric, you've got your ultra heat switch here. So you've got off on the O, 2000 watts, which is 2 kilowatts, and then you can adjust your thermostat, which is the middle. 9 is equivalent to 30 degrees, so if you put it around 5 or 6, that's 15 to 20 degrees there. So 2000 kilowatts, 2000 watts even, is 2 kilowatts. So depending on what the site gives you an amperage and what you're currently using in the vehicle will determine whether you use 2000 or you drop it to 500 watts, or you can drop it to 1000 watts, which is 1 kilowatt. But normally you would just put on to 2000 when you're in the UK. These two you can use on smaller CL sites or abroad, or like I say, depending if you're running the microwave at the same time as the water heater and boiling a kettle, it might be too much for the van to cope with and it might trip the vehicle out. So you might want to just turn it down when you use another high voltage appliance. So to heat your vehicle off gas, this is your gas front fire from Truma, and on the right hand dial you've got your gas. So you'd push down, you've got 5 settings on the gas, so push down, turn, look in the pilot hole here and you'll see it lit. So 1 to 5, 5 being the highest on gas, which is equivalent to 30 degrees. And then this side you've got your fan. So A, O and M. A stands for automatic, so once the vehicle detects that it's got to that temperature set off the gas or the electric on the other side, as the fan works both, it will cut out, and as soon as it's dropped it'll cut back in. So that's thermostatically controlled. Here you've got the O, which is off, and it convects out the front of the fire. So just do be careful that you don't catch any loose clothing on the fire when it's on, because it is very hot and you don't want to burn yourself. And then M is manual mode, which it'll manually just blow around the various parts of the vehicle, toilet, front, back, until you then turn the fan speed down, which is 1 to 5 on the fan, or turn the temperature of the gas or the electric down once it's hit the temperature set and it gets too warm for you. Or if you're wild camping, you can turn it off, and you're going to allow it to come out the front of the fire on gas, because you wouldn't have electric. You wouldn't use the fan because you'd waste 12 volt, so you'll waste what's in your leisure batteries using that fan. So you would just allow it to convect out the front and gradually warm the vehicle up. So gas, fan speed 1 to 5, automatic, off, convex out the front of the fire. Manual mode, you've then got to then turn it down the temperature or turn the fire off once the vehicle gets warm. To make the rear lounge into a bed, if you just turn your turnbuckle here and then lift and slide your slats out, you're going to hit 2 rubber stoppers on both sides. What you've got to do is you've got to lift the board up and put it on the other side of the board, jam it in this side, and then the lats can't move, so they're stuck in place now. And then to fill that space, you'd use your backrests in here. We then advise that you turn all your other cushions upside down, so you all sleep on the back, as it's a flatter surface. You don't get the bull nose and you don't get the press studs in the centre of the cushion sticking in the back. So turn them upside down, put a sheet on. You can remove the back cushions and put them in the front, and it gives you a larger bed. And I would say that the bed in the back of this is slightly bigger than a double bed, so you've got a large sleeping area there. Top of your oven, grill and hob. So starting off with your hob, lift your glass top up, then you can light all 3 gas rings there. So once you've had the gas on, allow these to cool down until they're cool enough to touch before putting the hob top down, otherwise there is a chance you could shatter the glass. You've got your grill, just slit there, and then underneath your grill you've got your oven. You may want to take these two out when travelling, as it can cause a little bit of vibration when on the road. Storage with the plug for your fridge in here. Oh no, sorry, that's not the plug for your fridge, that's the plug for your tower of sockets at the back, so that supplies them with mains power. So at the back you do have a lift up socket, so you can turn them on and off should the socket be turned on. You can turn it on like so. 3-pin plugs, and then press here, turn it off, press here and drop that down, and you've got 3 sockets for your kettle, toaster and your kitchen appliances. Your microwave, press eco to wake up, tells you here on the sticker that's an 800 watt and it'll only work when you're connected to mains. So if you're not hooked up, the microwave won't work. There's the plug for the microwave should you ever have to remove it and replace it, or you just want to use a socket in a cupboard. There's a socket with some storage. Cutlery tray, storage in the shelves, and then you've got your gas isolation valve taps here. So 4 red gas taps. These isolate each appliance on gas. Any problems with gas, turn these off at the bottle, so turn the bottle off to be safe. These are mainly for when the vehicle is annually habitation serviced, but you can turn the appliance off that you think that's leaking from here. To operate your Dometic fridge with freezer compartment, to turn the fridge on and off, put the button at the far left hand corner, so just press and hold and it'll come on. And then you've got 3 sources, so you've got mains power, which will act as a household fridge on 230 volt. So if you are at home and you are pre-chilling the fridge, a few days before you'll want to hook the van up anyway to charge the leisure batteries. Put the fridge on 2 days before, then the night before put your shopping in once the fridge is cooled down on mains power. So you've allowed it a day just to chill on its own. Put your shopping in overnight, your shopping will then become nice and chilled, and then when you're ready to travel, what you can do is you can pop it on the battery setting, which is this one here, and it'll keep the fridge at the same temperature it was at when departing until you arrive back on site, and you either put it back onto mains if you've paid for a site with electric, or if you're going wild camping you can press the gas and it'll self-ignite on gas as long as the gas bottle's turned on and you've got gas on board. So the battery setting just acts as a cool box, keeps the fridge at the temperature it was currently set at. Don't expect that to work if you haven't had it on. You've got to pre-chill it beforehand, but if, like I say, if you were on a site and you've paid for electric, use the one of the plug, which is mains 230 volt hookup. This is your temperature here. So when pre-chilling, put on 5. Once you pop your shopping in, just drop it down to 3 or 4, because sometimes it can be too cold and potentially freeze your shopping, so you don't want that. And you've got your reset button here, which explains there. Just resets it if you're struggling to get gas through, or it's telling you that you're not hooked up. You can silence the fridge. Freezer compartment. Then when you're not using the vehicle, what you'll want to do is turn your fridge off, press this button here on the light, which brings out the 2 toggles, which stops the door from shutting on itself. So take everything out of the fridge, give it a wipe out with some antibacterial spray or a wipe, and then if you rest the door up, you can see that the door's not shut. It allows air circulation in and out of the fridge to stop the air from being trapped in the fridge and causing smells within the vehicle. In the washroom area, you've got a large shower cubicle, with hanging rail for wet towels, but if you put a couple of hangers on here, if you're going away on a longer trip, that can actually work out as another space to store your clothes if you're not using your shower until you arrive. So you can put your clothes on there, because some people don't use their showers in the motorhomes at all. Some people do. You can obviously hang your clothes in there, but it also works out great if you've been caught in the rain. You can hang your wet coats in there, allow them to drip dry, because obviously the washroom is heated. So put your heating on, shut the door. This is the smallest place in the van, so it'll get lovely and warm should the heating be on full, and dry your coats off and your wet clothing. Turnbuckle on your shower screens to keep your shower screen back when travelling. And then, like I said outside when we're doing the boiler, about removing the shower head from the hose, because water could sit in there, and leaving your taps open. This is just showing that your hot water is working and your water system is working as the water is really warm. See the steam coming off the water there, so it is very hot, the water. Ply screen and the blackout blind on the window. Depart in the middle by pressing them. Bathroom lights just underneath the cabinet with storage for toiletries in there. To operate your Fedford toilet, ensuring that the pump's on, which we know it is because we've used the tap, you can press this button here, which gives you a fresh water flush. So we always say flush the toilet first, because it puts a bit of water in the bottom of the bowl of the toilet, which lubricates the seal between the blade and the cassette. And then this grey handle is known as the blade handle. So put your water in, slide that away from you to the right, opens the blade. You can then use the toilet. Flush after use. And then what you want to do is you want to close the blade. So you want to bring it towards you to the left, closes it. And then should you do it in that routine and the cassette indicates that it's full, it's needing to be emptied, which will go red here, this green dial goes red, or should slowly go red until it does physically show red. If you do it in this routine and it's shut, you can go to the outside of the vehicle, pull the cassette out, and it'll come straight out of the van and be ready to empty. If it was to be open, the mechanism's still engaged and it's holding the blade open, which means the cassette won't move. So you'll know what you've done, you've got it closed. But just come into a routine of flushing, opening, using, flushing, closing. And then you should never get any smells. You should get the cassette out, and then if you travel, obviously it's not going to go everywhere because it'll be shut. So now in the cab, to the right of the driver between the seat and the door is the location of your handbrake. And then on the door you've got driver and passenger electric windows, followed by your selector for your electrically adjustable mirrors. So this is mirror adjustment, which is electric, so it does the top one or it does the bottom one, and it'll only move the glass. You've just got to manually pull them in, so they're not automatic folding mirrors, but you can adjust both mirrors on each side, top and bottom, bottom one being the blind spot mirror. And then to black the carb out, you fitted with Remus carb blinds on the side doors. So pinch and slide the driver and passenger door, both the same as this, and then pinch, slide out, pinch, slide, clip in the middle on a magnetic strip. If it's potentially going to be windy, just put an elastic band or a hair bubble around the handles to stop them pinging open if you're away and it's quite windy. Headlight adjustment, rear fog lights. Wiper stalk, on the end of the wiper stalk is your trip computer, so if you want to reset this, you just press and hold. But you can press and view your range, your average and instant consumption, your travelling times and your distance travelled, all from there. Steering wheel controls, so you've got all for the radio, mute volume, scrolls through your channels for your radio, answers and declines a call. Lights and the indicators, and then the bottom one you do have off in the middle, turn it down to put the SLD on, which is speed limiter, and then you push and hold and it goes up in 5 mile an hour increments. Go up slowly, goes up in 1s, and you'll see under there it's saying it's limited to 30 mile an hour, but it's off, which means it's not limited to 30 mile an hour. Push the end of the stalk and the off disappears, and it is now limited to 30 mile an hour. So if you're going through an average 30 mile an hour speed camera zone, you can put that on, or you can adjust it to 50 if it was 50, or put it at 70 so you don't get caught by a speed camera when on the motorway. Or you can scroll all the way to the top, which is cruise control, get to the desired speed you want to go to, push it up to set, pull it down to slow down, push it up to speed up, cancel with the foot brake, cancel with the end of the stalk, and resume with the end of the stalk to the last speed that it was set at. Reverse camera can be on all the time, but it is just a top camera, so that one on the number plate it's probably been used at some point, but it's been probably fitted by the previous owner. So it's the top one from the top of the vehicle, so you can see out the back of the vehicle all the time, as well as when you lift the collar and go into reverse, it brings on car back, which is your reversing camera when reverse is selected. If you did want to turn this off, you can just press here and turn it off, but you may just want to leave it on. Cup holders in the middle with auxiliary and USB input for the head unit, for the radio. Hazards, locks the doors, including the habitation door. Just make sure all your lockers are locked with the key. Heated mirrors, so if you were in the winter or the mirrors were wet or icy, you can put these on and clear them, so you get great visibility down the side of both of the vehicle. USB for charging, 12 volt for charging. These will only work when the engine's switched on, will not work when you're parked up. On the outer left hand ring, this ring here, you've got your temperature, and then your fan speed must be on at least 1 or more for the aircon to work, which is this one here. And then you've got your outside right ring distribution, so face, feet, screen, and whether you're bringing fresh air in or you're recirculating air within the vehicle. Finally, to work your radio, on and offs here, it is just FM, AM. Scroll for your favourite channels, or you can press skip and it'll find your favourite stations that it can find. 1 to 6 to save your favourite stations. Media, no CD, it is USB or auxiliary. And then you can connect your phone by pressing phone. No phone's connected, connect the phone, press enter. Add a phone. You want to find Uconnect on your phone, press pair. The line asks you if you want to allow your contacts to be saved, press allow, and it'll download your phone book so you can scroll through your contacts on the head unit itself by using this dial once you select a phone. That's your radio. Glove box here, glove box there, which is heated and cooled by the air conditioning, and that is your cab.